space is terrifying. It's
Yeah.
just, that's, the thesis of all these movies is space is terrifying. But below you lies Cthulhu, so good luck.
Hello, welcome to Film Curious. Ashley here, and I'm joined by Pete this morning. Last week we chatted about Project Hail Mary, and The Martian came up a bit as a comparison, and that is pretty obvious why. But if you don't know why, it's because it's based on one of the novels by the same writer, Andy Weir. They actually grabbed the writer of The Martian for Project Hail Mary, Drew Goddard, so same screenwriter. And obviously, it's the same kind of basic story, sci-fi adventure revolves around a botanist astronaut stranded on Mars when a mission goes wrong, and he has to claw for survival while he figures out a way to make contact with Earth for a rescue. So it's like those are pretty obvious similarities as to why a comparison would come up between the two. The Martian now is like, was it 2015? Wow, so it was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And directed by, the legend Ridley Scott. And you can kind of see how perfectly done this film is. Like, you can see how deftly he just, the movement of the film, the storytelling of it is just smooth. I don't feel like we hit any like road bumps. And I think that this just shows how good Scott is at his craft.
It's such a fast 2 hours and 24. Like it's listed at 2:24, and I've never felt that this movie's long. It just feels
No.
It has really just a great, real snappy pace, and I think the biggest difference, because there are so many lines that you could draw between this and Hail Mary, but it's the Matt Damon's character in The Martian. He's aware that he can. He feels confident that he can figure it out. Like that's the only option that he sees. Like, I got to figure this out. And I enjoy watching him puzzle box his way out of, like, that's the joy of that movie for me, is this puzzle box of how do we get him home?
Yeah.
That's always been my favorite bit of it. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And it is
charming white guy lost in space is
right.
Andy Weir's secret sauce right there, I guess.
Yeah, mostly by himself. With Project Hail Mary, you're having the flashbacks supplement the lack of human interaction, whereas The Martian, I guess I'll give you, it's spoiler, but not too big of a spoiler, that he does make contact with Earth eventually. Like it is a good quarter into the movie, he makes contact with Earth. So that kind of supplements these two characters being totally stranded alone in space. And I realized rewatching The Martian that almost everybody is in it who was big at the time. Like you've got Jessica Chastain, obviously Matt Damon. I saw Kristen Wiig was surprising when on the rewatch, where I was like, oh wow, I forgot Kristen Wiig was in this. You've got Mackenzie Davis, Jeff Daniels. I'm gonna mess up his name.
Try it. Come on. Sebastian Stan. You got it.
Kate Mara. I think it's Chiwetel
Ejiofor. If I'm saying it correctly, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. And Donald Glover pops up. So
yeah, and Benedict Wong.
Yeah. There's a stark difference, though, between these two films, where like The Martian is so rooted, I feel, in reality. The difference kind of really cuts off, where I do feel like Project Hail Mary is more fantasy. Like, we are verging more on this fantasy film when we hit meeting the alien. Rocky is a very fantastical character.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of obviously a lot of similarities, but I think that Project Hail Mary does feel more like I'm taking a totally out of world journey. I don't know if you feel the same.
Hail Mary feels more fantastical sci-fi because, you see an alien. That's it's a kind of like a line in the sand, right? We get to that point where the science and the reality behind The Martian could be utter horseshit, but I don't know.
Right.
Like they could say nothing accurate, and I would have no idea outside of the fact that there's no air on Mars. I'd be like, I know that.
Right.
And I think the film is smart in that sense that it doesn't get you tied up in that. It doesn't. You just know that like dangerous environments, you could really have it anywhere. And so with Hail Mary, which you could, if you squint, you're like, oh, is this E.T. for people? Is this like a newer E.T., right? Like there's aspects of that film that lay in there where, again, like Martian is a survivalist puzzle box film with everyone has a good sense of humor. Like there's almost everyone in that cast from Damon, Chastain, Kristen Wiig, Jeff Daniels. They all have Michael Pena. Almost everyone has like a line of comedy. But it doesn't feel like hokey jokey. It's just it's like an adult comedy with tension. I feel like it's kind of a unique movie nowadays to exist. Even though how similar it is to the Project Hail Mary and its dressings, it feels slightly more adult. And that I do prefer it. I don't give a shit about ranking things. But if you were to ask me, like, oh, do you like this one or that one? I actually do prefer The Martian more.
Rewatching it, it's just so I realize that they are such different films, right? Though, like the basic plot is the same. Different in the Earth's not in trouble, but in The Martian, but they are even like aesthetically. The cinematography, I feel like, for The Martian is gorgeous, but he's not doing anything crazy with the camera,
Yeah, no.
And I feel like
nor should he.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
The camera's supposed to be invisible.
Does it when necessary to show. Like basically, I think the only time there's like a ton of camera movement is when they are up in space and the action is heightened. But Project Hail Mary, I think Greg Fraser's cinematography gets a little bit more playful. There's a lot of like camera spins with the zero gravity with Ryan Gosling. And so it's just like Project Hail Mary is a very playful film.
Yeah.
I feel like there's tension, but we always know it's going to be all right. Like, because of, I feel like the tone makes it like, I just feel like even like when you're like, oh no, what's going to happen to them? There's something in the back of your mind that goes, well, no, they're not going to let anything happen to, Rocky.
But that's fine. Also, I've seen a lot of people bring that up, not in the way that you're bringing it up, but I've seen people bring up this thing. They get very obsessed with, oh, well, if no one dies, like, what are the stakes? It's like, that's kind of insane because, comics have worked for, decades upon decades upon decades. Guess what? Superman, maybe once, but like, he's going to make it through. Batman's going to figure his shit out. Mm-hmm. Bruce Willis is going to live through Die Hard. They're going to go through the ringer to get there. And character death is not the only thing that can create tension. I always feel that really just seems so narrow-minded, like in viewing of it. So like, yeah, I from the fucking minute I sit down, I'm pretty sure Matt Damon's going to make it home. But it's the discovery of, well, how, right. And then as you give comfort and things start going well, then of course, you take it away and you take away his crops, right? That's the biggest thing. Like, when he loses the potatoes, that's our cue to be like, oh no, how is he going to get by this? Not is he? I don't really think you wonder, like, does this movie end with him dying? Like, it doesn't give you that vibe. But how does he figure it out? That's always that's always so much fun for me when watching something like this. The Rube Goldberg of explanation as to like how this guy who has to keep his shit together, because Gosling has a companion. It may be alien, and it may be that they have to figure out how to communicate, but he does have a companion, where Damon's only companion, they compress that time, but it's somebody that he's talking to that he doesn't hear a response for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, very, very different vibe to it. But as you were saying with the camera, Scott's never been someone who like fucks around, with the camera. Like, he uses it effectively, and framing is always lovely. But it's not like he's going crazy. He's a very, very controlled director, and I always love watching, whatever he catches visually. And Ridley Scott also, his repertoire not usually comedy. So I thought I've always enjoyed the Martian, because it's one where he really nails the comedy. Like, it's very dry, and it's very dry funny. So I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever a bad thing if the characters survive, and I don't think death has to be on the table for the stakes to be high. I just think that, you just need enough points of overcoming something to feel like it was worth it, or the character earned it. I had a professor, a screenwriting professor, it was a writing for television course that I loved this advice, and he was like, your job basically is to dig your character a really deep hole and then figure out how to get them out of it. Like, that is, and I think it's like one of the best kind of advice, and it applies to almost every story of like the audience going, how are they going to get out of this one?
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yeah. So, I really enjoy both. But I think the rewatch of The Martian did show me that there's not a whole lot of similarities outside of the basic one, the basic.
Yeah. It could be a similar poster for both movies. Again, like lone white dude in space. So, because you want to hide maybe the facts, some of the things that happen in Hail Mary. But once you get past that, they kind of, they go into their own areas. The threat to Earth, one of the big ones, right? It's the will saving the one as to trying to save the many, a Star Trek thing, famously. But for some reason, I care more about the one. I'm like, I don't know. Humanity's had its time. Fuck them. Don't go. You're good.
I think for me, maybe I'm just a sucker for the flashback type structure of a story. Keeps me really engaged with the story. So I don't think one actually wins over the other for me, because I think of them so differently now. But I think maybe Project Hail Mary, I kind of just liked the flashback structure of it. Not that that's the thing. The Martian doesn't need any flashbacks. We're moving linearly, and we don't need that. So, but I don't know. I can't put one above the other, I guess. So, I don't know. I'm not going to choose.
Well, you have to.
I'm not going to choose.
No, we're sorry. Social media demands that you must. One sucks, and the other is like perfect.
Well, if we're going based off of that, then I guess. If those are my options, then I guess it's The Martian is perfect.
Really quick side note, just because we bring him up, Ejiofor.
Mm-hmm.
I love him in this movie. He's I'm just a big fan of him. I think Children of Men is one of the first times I remember seeing him in something. I'm sure there was something before that, but that's what I remember. Just he's coming out with this movie. It's like a liminal space movie. It's either Neon or A24, but looks really good. Like, he finds like this room or this series of rooms that are hidden within other rooms.
I think I saw a trailer for this.
Yeah, I could look it up really quick, but the thing is
just like The Room. But go ahead.
Underground or under room, something like that. But he does a narration for a book, Piranesi by Susanna Clark. And there's an odd similarity in the two. One of my favorite audiobooks to listen to ever. And he reads it as the main character. So Piranesi, just, put that off to the side. Yeah, really lovely. The same author who did Jonathan Strange and Dr. Norrell, which is another, I really, really dig that book. It's very dry, very English, but I really like it. Sorry, just to had that in my mind. And
totally good. Maybe I should finish on some sort of note on The Martian so that we can wrap it up.
Can't top David Bowie. It's for me, it's one of my favorite needle drops is when Space Oddity is Spaceman Starman. There's a Starman. Yeah. When that drops, that's just a feel good ass moment where everything is going well, like everyone's working together. I think it's after that sequence when the potatoes pop. Or no, he's getting ready to like get the hell out. I can't remember. I don't remember where it happens in it, but absolute spectacular needle drop. Are you being haunted?
I think it's a woodpecker.
Oh,
it just sounded like 3 little like drills into my roof.
That could be a legit problem.
Yes.
Actually, like woodpeckers can do some actual damage.
Yeah, no, I just heard actually Ryan, my husband, just run out there. He's probably like, oh fuck no.
God knows if he'll survive the encounter. Please, Ryan, be careful.
Woodpecker.
Whatever you're doing.
But no, Jesus, I lost my train of thought again with the woodpecker.
The woodpecker is the one who pops the hole in The Martian. That's the reason.
Oh, the Starman. Okay, David Bowie. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that moment. I mean, yeah, maybe his crops are already growing. Maybe he's working on getting to the other side, and now he's made contact, and he's like.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's like when things are going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're figuring back on Earth. They're figuring out what to do.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, also Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, he's like the
one of the guys.
propel and one of the jet propel engineers. Yeah, everybody's in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the song was fitting and great, but I'm like, the rest of the movie is all just disco.
It's what you need.
So, but yeah, no, it's great. I think it does a really good job of lightening things up. But I did go, Bowie's not really disco. Like Starman isn't a disco song.
No, but that's the thing is that's his song.
Yeah.
And the disco music was her music. Mm-hmm. So Chastain's character's music. So you actually get, a little bit of both. You get his sequence that's the album that he would put on for that character. And the other is, he has to do with what he's got. Right. So it kind of ties into the rest of the movie. He has to make do with what he has, which what he has is Lewis's disco collection. But when he gets his own spotlight and he's doing his thing, he gets a David Bowie needle drop, which is great. It's really good. I love the ending too when he's talking to the students. I really like that. Just the you just solve one problem.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you solve the next. And then you solve the next. The lesson being there's going to be another problem. And there's no guarantee of victory, but you can try. And I like that because I don't like this modern era of, I call it toxic positivity, where it's like, if you really want something, you're going to get it. It's like, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. There's plenty of people.
Manifest the life you want.
Yeah. I manifested it. Like, shut up. You didn't. That's not realistic. It's fine to tell yourself that, but
you do have to take the steps. Yeah.
But you have to. That's the thing. Like, you have to try. You have to center yourself and concentrate and be like, okay, now I have to figure out how do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
And I've always really enjoyed that. They do a good job of, he looks a little older in that scene, but he doesn't look like he's in makeup. Like it doesn't look like a makeup older scene. He
Yeah.
doesn't look like Cap at the end of Avengers.
Can you imagine if that's how they ended? They're like, we're just going to do full
great.
old makeup on Damon.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have a wavering, wise voice.
It's, I'm thinking about, like, there's so many movies I guess not recently, because 12 years is not exactly recently. But like, I think of The Martian, I think of Gravity, I think of Project Hail Mary, and space is terrifying. That's the thesis of all these movies is space is terrifying, but below you lies Cthulhu. So good luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of had this conversation with Ryan as we paused the movie for a moment, and we were just like, astronauts are wild. Like and like, but they have that kind of confidence. It's because they're already doing the impossible, basically, right? Like going up into space is kind of the impossible, is the unimaginable, right? Like where they are, what they're doing is already that. So like the confidence of Matt Damon's character even like makes sense, the confidence of all the astronauts when they go to rescue him. It makes sense to me because I'm like, they're already up in space. This is already like, how the hell did I get up here? Like, how is this possible? I still think space travel has that like wild what kind of thing about it. I don't know when we would ever get comfortable with that because it is terrifying.
We took such a big break of going up there. I don't know if that's anywhere soon.
Right, because the consistency isn't there. So I think like the novelty and the craziness of it is still there for me. But yeah, and then NASA definitely had like major, I don't want to say product placement, but like the Martian like definitely was like, they went all out. Everything has a NASA logo on it. They've got
again, like,
mugs.
That's for a good cause, because
when
things go badly
interested in space.
Yeah, it's like, because the thing with space travel is when something goes badly, usually that's only one other option that happens.
Yeah, is
death of people, and that can shut down the whole thing for decades at a time. After history is shown. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, you think about it, what an astronaut pulls off. Like if I travel to a foreign country and I find my train, I'm like, fucking yes, master explorer,
right?
But like these folks are,
it's uncharted black territory. I don't even know how they navigate
nothingness. I guess not infinite technically, but
Then they have aerodynamics and stuff too on top of whatever. Like he's a botanist on top of whatever he needs to know about his spaceship. So again, like I'm not smart enough to know the science. If they got it right or not, I have no idea. But I'm gonna assume that like the astronauts still have a very impressive resume.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Anyway, but happy that space movies have been successful, and I'm all in on the NASA stuff. I think it does really push the bounds of like what humanity can do, and like calls to our inner adventurers.
Yeah, I think I may have said it on the previous episode. I apologize if I did. I think it was Ray Bradbury who, when maybe after Challenger or something, when there was talk of like, we're not going there anymore. And I believe it was Bradbury who said, that's the end of humanity because you're not going to be able to survive here. So unless, humans can learn how to get the hell off the planet, that'll be the end of the story eventually. So yeah, that's the key to finding somewhere else to ruin. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean,
starting to think like maybe we shouldn't,
Or it is like a collaborative thing because like I did notice this similarity, and maybe it's a Andy Weir sort of thing. Is like Project Hail Mary is all nations coming together trying to come up with a plan on how to save Earth, and The Martian is a whole team of people trying to figure out how to get this man back to Earth, but also, China pops up and was like, yes, we should help the United States to get them.
No, just that one man, not all men. Not all men.
just the one.
If
man.
all men were in space, it'd be like,
But yeah, it's like the we do better together sort of thing. We can go further together.
yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, no, enjoyed both. Enjoyed the rewatch. So if you guys haven't watched The Martian in a while, go out there, rewatch it. I think it's definitely worth multiple watches.
And if you have 4K capable equipment, get that 4K physical disc. It looks fantastic.
I think I just have the Blu-ray. I'm
What
trying
is
to remember.
wrong
Maybe
with-
it
are
is
you- are
4K.
you-
No,
you're
I might have bought
embarrassing
4K. I don't know. I like grabbed it randomly because like Ryan was obsessed with this movie when it came out. So it
Yeah,
was
I
like
can see that.
it was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It was like an easy, birthday gift or something like that.
There you go.
So yeah, I did have it on hand. Hey guys, Ashley here. Thanks for listening to Film Curious. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more to come. I'll be reviewing new theatrical releases and new to streaming as much as possible, so make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again. See you real soon.